All right, so the final segment. We're going to talk about companies we're stoked on, and we're going to debate them.
Yeah, we are.
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe we agree on everything. Probably not, but...
No. I'm going to let you go first. What companies are you stoked on?
First one that comes to mind is Signal right now.
Well, you work there.
Yeah, but...
You worked for them. They give you a paycheck. They should buy advertising in this.
Yeah, give us paycheck again. We sat down with Billy at SA this year and had a long, good chat with him and just about where the brand direction was going and whatnot. Because I was sad because it seemed like they were winding down a bad place. And kind of where they've moved to is, from what I understand, from what Billy was talking about, is they're not really going to be pushing their bulk of their production out of their U.S. factory anymore. They're still going to make snowboards out of there, but it's going to be focused on the every third Thursday stuff and like the one-off stuff. Like
the John Jackson is made there. The Manu Shiv, the Pro models
like some of that. Like some of that stuff is still made U.S.
The Disruptor, the Yup are being made in Taiwan, the same factory that makes Endeavor.
Right. And
Burton too.
Which is a high quality factory, like a very high quality factory. And seeing the Yup and having ridden that, it falls in line with that. Like it rides awesome. So seeing a brand like that kind of reassess what their assets are actually good for, and now I see a positive future with that. And then there's the whole subscription thing. It creates this entire other realm of accessibility to snowboarding for people that probably couldn't. I mean, you're still paying the same price for that snowboard, but people can't save money. People are terrible at saving money. So to be able to just put down $35, $40, or $45 or $50 a month, that's way easier than saving $35, $45, $50 a month and then buying a snowboard in November. It's way easier to just be like, I get my snowboard when I want it, and then I only have to pay $50 a month. And then you get a bunch of perks on top of that from those guys.
This is true, and they've got that warranty that's in there and stuff like that. And, they did send us 4 boards to ride this year. 3 were good. 1 was a death sled. But I think...
Yeah, I'm wondering if it was wrong.
I think it was pressed wrong, but that's neither here nor there. But I will agree with Kevin that I do like right now where Signal is coming from with things, and after riding the Yup and the John Jackson Sierra, it's kind of a slight foreshadowing of what you might expect in the future from certain awards or at least top picks.
Yeah.
And doing that and seeing that they're smart enough to go, look, man, we're fighting this problem with shops paying on time and distribution and stuff like that and making our product on time, and so why don't we outsource certain models and we do a subscription-based thing, and it's good. It's
an example of a snowboard company that's actually willing to change and actually willing to look at where things are moving and what they can do to stay relevant. So
it is, and like I said, I do like the idea that they are actually trying something different in there. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with the direction that I feel like for the longest time, they've been a webisode production company with a snowboard factory. Every Thursday.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of when I was there, that's where they were moving towards. I was there during the production of season 2, and
you were in the first episode of season 2.
And that's very much.
And I've
what
been
it
in an
felt
episode
like
too,
working there, and I don't want that to come across as Signal wasn't great to work for. They were, like Dave. I love Dave. I love Mark. They're awesome people. They care about snowboarding. They really do. But it very much started to feel like every third Thursday was 100% the focus, and the factory was there to fund it.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like, and I'm glad to see them find a good balance. I think because I think they have found a good balance between them being a media outlet as well as a snowboard company.
Well, they make themselves look more approachable, and I think that really helps the brand as a whole. And you get people that are just hyped on every third Thursday that's how they discovered Signal. Oh, I can buy a snowboard? Oh, okay. Oh, sick. I got this snowboard and I got these other perks and whatnot. And they could buy a board that's still made in America, or they could buy a board made in China. That's the interesting.
That's really cool. Yeah.
That's the really interesting thing is that they have boards made in America that are for sale and boards made in China. Mm-hmm. Well, Taiwan, which kind of whatever. The Orient.
Yeah,
The Orient. But it's good. I like that direction. I like the chat that we had with Billy and how that they're trying to attract these different people and just reach out to people and be like, it's a subscription and it's this and it's this. it's good to see someone actually change. And for that, I can get behind what's going on with Signal. And my first choice for a brand I'm super stoked on, interior plane project. Okay, I'm a little more of the core guy out of the two of us, that's just the way I was raised, and it's just like a little bit more of a rebel. When IPP came out, I started following them right away. I just love the message. I love the aesthetic. I love the team direction. When I've met their team guys at Bull of the Woods 3, they were really cool guys. Talking to Pete, the owner. When I see he is calling me, I make it a priority to answer that phone because he's going to say something funny and stuff. But it's the fact that this guy, Pete, who started the company, has been a rep for almost 20 years or maybe 20 years, and he started in a core shop, and he understands it, and there's only 3 boards in their line. Mm-hmm. You have a wide, and they're all camber. You have a wide board that's camber, a regular width board that's camber, and a jib softer board that's camber. And they're not oversaturating with what they have on that, and the message is clean, and the products are built at the Capita factory at Mothership. They're really good, and from the day that I rode the first board, I was like, oh my god, these things, like the finish quality, everything, it's like I went from being a reverse camber, alternate camber guy to being like, well, fuck it, I'll go back to camber, mm-hmm. and I love it. I've got 2 Honolese now. I love that I've got those boards. I mean, the Honolulu that I have, the first one, I hadn't bought a snowboard in 10 years. 10 years. And I hit him up and I was like, hey, what shop should I buy this from? And he's like, no, we'll work a deal. And, I gotta hook up on it. But I legitimately had not bought a snowboard in 10 fucking years. And I bought that because I wanted it so bad. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I love that board. I love the way it rides. I understand how it's going to ride. It's aggressive. It's stiff. My knees hurt after the day of riding it. But I've got a new one for next year that's a sample that's 20% softer. It's where I always wanted mine to break in. That's going to be my daily driver. I'm going to ride that thing into the ground. And you know what? I'll probably buy another one after that. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole thing. And I know you haven't been on any of their boards.
Not yet, yeah. There's just been
I know.
Bad events of circumstance. I just haven't had a chance to.
Yeah. I need to get you on mine, but it's one of those things. I love their image. And when I was talking to Pete one time, I said, "You're the new forum," and he's like, "What? No, my riders aren't that good." And I go, "That's not the point. They're approachable." Like I love watching the footage.
It was never really the point of the forum team. It was never that they were the best riders. It would just happen to be that they were the best riders.
Well, I think when it started, it was, but near the end there, it wasn't.
Yeah, near the end, it was just that like the forum videos towards the end, like they had some banger riders for sure.
Oh yeah.
But the reason I liked the forum movies was the feeling and the
yes,
it was a feeling of the movies.
Yes, exactly.
It wasn't necessarily just the riding. It was the vibe you got from the team. Like they were a team and they loved riding with each other, and you got that feeling out of it.
And exactly. And when I watched the video this year from the Shapeshifter series, I was just it's black and white. I love black and white. I'm like a huge black and white guy.
It's cool.
And I just sit there and I've got a couple copies. We're gonna give some away in this episode, so just stay tuned till the end. But yeah, I love Interior Plane Project. I'm wearing a hat. I've got hoodies. Like whenever the order comes into the lumberyard, I go down there and I'm like, okay, what'd you order for me, Deeds? And he's like, oh, this. And I'm like, take my money. Just take my money. I'm going to wear this, So like I've got hoodies. I've got crew necks. I've got T-shirts, Like I legitimately support this brand because I just love what they're about. And it's cool. It's like this little thing. And this year riding Copper, I think there was about 12 kids from the Midwest one day, and they were just freaking out that I was riding an Interior Plane Project. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, someone sells them around here? And I was like, yeah, I got them into the shop over there. Oh, that's like our local brand. And they were all super jazzed up on it and shit. And, it's cool. It's one of those things, and I love the way the graphics are. They've been in this next year. They went like a complete 180, but that's cool to see a brand just do that. And I like the fact that you can't get these boards everywhere. And I don't think anyone's selling them online right now. Pete's keeping them in core shops, and that's the whole thing with me is that I love this. I love the way they represent the brand. I love how everything is, and so that's me with Interior Plane Project. I mean, for you personally, I don't think they have a board in their line that you would actively seek out and ride.
Not anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Not anymore, but...
Back when I was still a gym kid.
Yeah, maybe the Haro would probably be your thing. I think the Honolulu, when you were still a gym kid, would have been too much. You might actually like the Honolulu now because it does rail turns really well. It is, but it's twin, and you need more twins in your life. Nah, maybe. But
2, 3.
Yeah, so and then the next brand that I'm really, really hyped on is Offshore Snowboard Shapes out of Japan. Mm-hmm. I want to ride one so bad. Like that's the company I just sit there and I'm like, just want to.
Basically, any brand coming out of Japan right now, I'm really excited about.
Well, yeah, I mean, the bummer of it this year was we couldn't get Karua.
Yeah. Next year we got to push for Gentum.
Gentum and Karua, yeah, but Karua, like yearning for turning.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another one that I'm really hyped on. I think we agree on that one too. Is Karua, because they're not trying to be anything they're not.
No.
Those and the thing is the entire group of people at Karua, what they make those boards for and what they market them as is what they all love to do.
Exactly. Like when we met Nicholas Wolkin at Parts and Labor and we talked with him, I mean, he was hyped on what we were doing and we're hyped on what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And that's really cool to see. But there's days I just want to go out and turn and I want to ride one of those so fucking bad. It hurts. And I love what they're doing. I know they're coming out of a decent factory. The quality is on par with other ones out there. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole thing. Is like I really, really legitimately like that brand. But that's one of the ones I'm super, super hyped on right now. I mean, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. What about you? What else you got going on?
Still niche.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah, and a lot of that just because every time I get back on, I have last year's Ether, and every time I get back on that board, it's just such a fun snowboard. And Anna is an awesome person.
She is.
She's great. And they are really pushing the eco thing still, kind of.
They are.
They are and they aren't, because they've realized that it doesn't really sell snowboards to push the eco thing, but they're still pushing forward with their agenda on it.
Well, the cool thing is they're working on that sap where you can dunk it and then the whole board will break down to help with recycling, and that's the cool thing. My problem with niches in the last 4 years, they've gone to 4 different factories.
Right. I think the thing is, luckily for them,
I think it's 4.
I think it's 4.
Is it 4?
Yeah.
GST, Elan,
GP87,
GP87, and now Mothership. Yeah, so it is 4.
And I think that's the thing is they landed at Mothership, and that factory falls in line so much with just the ethos of that company. Regardless,
yes.
I think they're going to finally stay there. But yeah, now that they finally got that figured out, I would like to see them add 1 or 2 more shapes to their line for 2019.
They need some POW shapes in there.
They need something POW shape, and they need something more in the freeride camber dominant category for sure. But it's, I don't know. To me, it feels so much like a snowboard company that they're making snowboards because they love to do it, and I guess that's what I like about it so much. And I do genuinely like the product. I think it rides fun. So
I've got some coming this week, so we'll see. Sweet. We'll see how that rides for me. But I mean, like I said, every year it's something different with them, and they're not a bad company. But to me, it's like a company that could do some things differently, and they could be easier to work with and stuff. So I just sort of sit there and I'm like, okay. I mean,
they've been in a transitional period for the last 2 years straight.
Right,
so
but Anna is an amazing person as a human. As a human,
yes,
I love her as a human. Like her and her husband Todd, and just great people.
Yeah.
But when I sit there and I just watch how they're running certain things, I'm just like, fuck. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, okay. Sometimes they do. So I'm hoping that maybe this next year things will be a little bit better. But it is what it is, and what can we say?
Yeah.
I'll tell you though, what I'm really hyped on right now are these Moss Snowsticks.
Yeah.
Gosei's been great to work with. Kenny G's been great to work with. All the guys out here getting me product to try out. These things rip turns like snow surfing, and just the idea that this company's been around since 1971.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy to me because it predates Winterstick, Sims, and Burton.
Yep.
So, you know, and these guys, it's just another part of the history of snowboarding that's really cool, but they don't have any twin tips. There are not one twin tip.
Yeah, their closest thing to a traditional style snowboard is the pintail. Yep. Like if you're considering moss and you're terrified by the crazy shapes and you've been riding twin tips for your entire life, then get a pintail because it rides the closest to you. You can set yourself up on that snowboard more traditionally than you can on probably any of the other stuff, I would say.
Yeah.
And it'll perform the way it needs to. Where a lot of the other stuff, you really kind of have to change the way you ride it in order for it to ride the way it's supposed to. But that's on purpose because they're not snowboards; they're snow surfboards.
Yes,
which is
exactly.
Totally different.
So there's that, and I don't know. Whenever I think about like companies I'm super stoked on or that I really want to ride, K2 always comes to mind. It's a brand that over the years there's always been something in that line that I just absolutely love as a product, whether it's board, boot, or binding, or a combination of the three. I mean, I would love to see them bring back the jib pan personally.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen in my lifetime.
Maybe rename it so people aren't confused.
Yes, exactly. But it's a brand, though, unfortunately, that I feel kind of no one knows what direction it's going in or who that person's for.
They don't know what direction they're going.
They don't.
Part of the problem.
But I love their products. And, I mean, it's a testament to the fact that I ride their second highest end boot, the Thraxis, and I ride their second lowest end binding, the Indy. You know, and I love the Indy. I love it. And the fact that I will gut parts off of old bindings to make them the way I want, but it's all K2 parts. You know, it's just, I'm going to gut it and put it together to do that. I love K2. I think the moment I fell truthfully, fully in love with that brand is they rented Mount Baker for an event, Camp K2. And, you know, you paid a bunch of money and you went, and you had to pay for your ticket to get there, plane ticket and everything, but when you were there, it was all inclusive. And it was the fact that when you got to there, it was everyone that worked for the company and all these people that were like working in K2 shops, and there was just this, everyone bled green while we were there.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, Baker dropped 7 feet of snow overnight the first night, then another 6 during the day. You know, it was just snow on snow, and we were just mash and pile, the Colorado crew, and we were all riding these K2 limited edition Turbo Dreams with gyrator graphics.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was when it kind of solidified to me that I really love this company. And the ongoing joke I always have with their people when I talk to them is, got an opening for a janitor? It's where I'm going to end up. It's true. When I can't make any more money off this, I'm gonna move to Seattle and probably do heroin under a bridge and work at K2.
Yeah.
Maybe not do the heroin.
It's kind of on that line. One of the other ones in that realm for me is ride. Just I've had a few chances in the last couple of years to like hang out and ride with a bunch of the actual like in-house ride crew, and they're such awesome dudes. Like Jim is one of my favorite people in snowboarding. He hates me. He doesn't hate you. He doesn't hate anybody. He probably hates people, but I don't know. He's hilarious. He doesn't take snowboarding too seriously. Like he sees snowboarding for what it is. He loves it for what it is, and yeah, and the same thing with like Chilton is I think one of my favorite engineers right now. Like everything that he's putting his touch on, everything he's designing has been awesome so far for the most part. With the exception of the Helix, that's hit and miss, mostly miss.
Well, I kind of blame him because he did change the tip on the Machete GT. Fuck that thing. Yeah. But you know, Ride's always one of those brands that like I don't hate it per se. I hate things in it. Yeah. And I just look at it and go,
And the other thing for me that is a big push for me with Ride specifically is boots, because I've had maybe 2 boots in my entire life that have actually worked for more than 30 days without hurting my feet. And I've got probably 130 days on a pair of fuses, and I don't really see them dying anytime soon. I don't really expect to not be able to ride that boot maybe the entire next season, which is unheard of. I've never gotten that many days out of it.
Meanwhile, I'm blowing a $400 pair of boots apart at like 45, 50 days.
And it's purely because of Slime Tongue. They're the only company out there that realize that if you want to make a boot last longer, you have to build a tongue that's going to last.
And a back spine.
To an extent, yeah, but I think back spines in the industry for the most part, for the average person at least, or even more than the average person, I think it's exceptional if you are breaking back spines at this point. I think most brands have gotten it figured out. Yeah, you are constantly, but
We'll talk about that in a future episode.
I don't have much issue with it. I've never really had any issues with breaking back spines. But, yeah, like the slime tongue thing is huge for me. The fact that I've got that many days out of a fuse and that many days that don't hurt my feet out of a boot in general is awesome. So for that alone, I am hyped on that brand. The fact that they're actually doing something with boots that I've been trying to get people to do for the last like 3 or 4 years.
And I can totally understand that, where you're coming from. And I get that. When you have that stuff that fits, it's like K2 boots just fit my feet. And so why wouldn't I put them in a K2 binding? And I like the way certain things work with it. You go into it, you know. But when I think of brands that I'm super, super stoked on, like one of my favorites is Marhar. You know, as a little brand, they're willing to take it negative feedback on their product to fix it. Whereas I've encountered so many companies, well, fuck you, you're wrong. No, I wrote it. I know what happened.
Oh, yeah. And I've had the same thing where you tell a company that something's not right or something's not working the way that it's supposed to, and they just tell you you're a hater. They tell you, oh, well, none of our team guys have had this issue.
Yes,
yeah, I bet they have, actually.
I'm just waiting for Ride to listen to me for once. But Marhar is, you know, I helped them design the lumberjack. It was an idea that I had, a concept, and I thought that their technology would work. But their finish quality on their boards for a U.S.-made snowboard is so good. And the fact that they figured out a way to do a clear coat without a lacquer machine on their boards. And I like their stuff. It rides. Every now and then they have a turd, but everyone poops. And every company makes a hunk of shit at some point. Yeah. But they'll figure out how to reinvent it, make it better, make it better, make it better. And it's their persistence and in the fact that they've grown to the point that they've moved factories 4 times, like their own factory. They've had to expand and grow, expand and grow, expand and grow is awesome. And, you know, the fact that the owner and the founders and everything still make the boards, so they know they're not forgetting what the little guy is doing. And I like that. You know, it's a brand that's cool to see them grow, and they get it. They're, okay, we started out as a park focused company. Well, now we've got a powder board. Now we've got a directional powder board. Oh, we're bringing camber back to our line. You know, they add things to the product to help it, and I really like that. I dig that, and it's really cool to see a company like that take that feedback and really, and their interactions when you watch their social media page with how they interact with anyone that's interested in the brand is phenomenal. So, I don't know. You've ridden a few, but I don't think you've been super stoked. I mean, well, I think the lumberjack's just too wide for your foot.
Yeah. I'd like to see them make like a lumberjack narrow and just bring it in. It's like, what is it, 28-ish under?
27.5, 28, something like that.
Yeah, like bring it to like,
I don't know. Originally, my concept was 44, 48, 52. They went 52, 55. I don't know who the hell that's buying the 55. That's just too much board.
It's a lot of board, yeah. But
that's just a lot. But, you know, I mean, I love the way the lumberjack rides. I've got a first year one from the prototype division. It's one of my quiver boards. You know, I love that thing. And to do that, I've ridden everything in their line. It's good, and stuff like that. But it's good. It's cool. Those guys, the feedback aspect is what's nice about those guys, and they don't get caught up in the bullshit.
Right.
And that's a lot of the problem with that. But you know, I like it. It's cool, and I don't know. It's snowboards. There's just so much stuff I want to ride out there. If I could get some of these European companies. Yeah.
So the other one, probably the last one I can really think of right now for me is Now. Specifically for the feature on the Select Pros, where you have the toolless knob that you can pull out of the binding and pull the binding off the hanger, because it creates the opportunity, and I really want them to start marketing this and pushing this, to buy one set of bindings for $300. And then I don't know how much they would charge for the hangers. I would hope they would be maybe $100 for the hangers or something like
even
that. For
50, 85, something like that.
And then like 50 to 85 for the nylons. And it creates this opportunity where now you can set up 5 different snowboards with one pair of bindings.
Yes. And that's something I've always liked too. It makes the
quiver, like when we talked about quivers last episode, it makes the quiver accessible for a lot more people.
True.
Instead of having to... I mean, and I guess that doesn't necessarily make it more accessible because you could just buy one pair of bindings and just move them constantly, but that's a pain.
Well, I do that, so
yeah.
I mean, that's why I have 3 pairs of the same binding basically, and I do that.
Yeah,
and I understand that, and
to be able to like run back to your car, like you show up to the mountain and it's dumping, but it gets tracked out by 10 o'clock because you're in Summit County, and then you want to go ride park all day instead of having to run back to your car and take a screwdriver out and take 8 screws, pull them off, get them back on, make sure you get your stance right. All you literally have to do is pull 2 bolts out of each binding, pull it up, and drop it down. That's the other thing is you don't have to set your stance back up. It's already set there for you.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's a great thing. And I love, just so people understand, like Kevin might be the binding tester, but when I've ridden nows, I really like what they're doing.
Yeah.
I like working with JF. I mean, first he's a hero of snowboarding.
Oh yeah.
The guy, and he's a design madman. I love it. I love knowing that he's doing this stuff and pushing it. And if you've ridden them, you understand the power transmission and everything is so different. Mm-hmm. It's a great brand. Personally, for me, I've realized that while I do like their stuff, I just need a traditional bind. That's how I am and stuff. But, and you know, to go along with Kevin talking about a Canadian company, I want to talk about Endeavor. Mm-hmm. I feel they're one of the most underrated Canadian brands out there, and they might be a little too Canadian for their own good sometimes to break into the U.S. market. But if you look by and large and how they break it down with their 3 lines, and it trickles down and costs go, you know, you got your price point, midpoint, high point boards. Mm-hmm. You look at that and it's camber, 3D, flat, you know, and it's just basically the tech goes up in there. And they've got the channel, they've got a seamless sidewall in their boards. They do have the arch type labs, so they've got their powder boards too on top of those 3 divisions of boards. But Endeavor, I feel like it's just a matter of time before the world starts to realize that like pieces will fall together for those guys because their boards they're built so well in a factory in Taiwan. It's the same one that's doing Signal and Burton and stuff like that. And I think Rome has some stuff made there too. But the boards are great.
So one of the other kind of random things I'm excited about seeing brands like Signal and Endeavor using the channel, and this is just kind of a small thing on the side, but people will finally, hopefully, start to realize you can put non-Burton bindings on the channel.
Oh, I ride K2s on the channel.
I rode the Signal Yup, and I rode one of the Endeavors, and I didn't put Burton bindings on it. I rode them with vent metals.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, those are awesome.
Reviews coming this summer.
Look for it, because vent metal was not good.
No,
they were terrible. And
at least we can agree.
It's one of those brands, exactly like we were talking about earlier in this episode, that was garbage, and they went and redesigned everything, and now they're not. Yeah. So, but that's what I wrote on the channel. So you don't have to put Burtons on a channel.
Yeah.
Maybe finally people will start realizing that when they see other brands of boards that aren't channel. Because suddenly it's not like, oh, you have to put a Burton on a Burton. Now it's just, that's a channel and it's an Endeavor. Can I put any bindings on it? Oh, I can.
Well, you should have seen the looks that people were giving me with that Signal Yup and seeing that head trick. Oh, what Burton is that? It's a Signal. What? Yeah. And then I'd show it to people and they go, this thing looks amazing. And I'd go, yeah. And it's the same thing with the Endeavor when I was riding the arch type Swallowtail. Mm-hmm. And people were just, what is that? What Burton is that? No, it's not Burton. No, that's an Endeavor.
Yeah.
And you know, the first generation, I'm not a channel guy by and large. It's just not my thing. I probably had too many slide on me over the years.
Yeah, I mean, I like it for certain things. I've gotten pretty particular, especially on my front to back spacing on my boot, or just my stance width in general, as far as all that's concerned. And when you get on something with inserts and the way your binding disc is, a lot of times I can't get exactly what I want. And that's one of the genuinely nice things about the channels. You can get your bindings exactly where you want them.
Right, that's true. You can do that. So, anyways, those are some of the brands we're kind of hyped on right now. What brands are you guys hyped on? Leave us a comment. Let us know. Maybe we should talk about them in the future episode. And we're going to pull the plug on this episode here, but I do want you guys to know I've got a couple of hard copies of the Interior Plane Project movie from the Shapeshifter series that we're going to be giving away. So, remember, give us a good old question or comment about what we should be talking about in episode 3, and if we choose your topic, your question, you're going to win a copy of the movie, and I'll reach out to you to get a hold of you on that. But by and large, this is the end of the episode. So, sorry, you're going to have to find something else to listen to. Any last questions, comments, or concerns, Kevin?
If you're still listening, congratulations, you made it this far. Wait till the next one.
See you whenever we do another episode.
Yep.